Hello, my sensitive friends. I'm Emily, and I'm here to chat with you about the things that I utilize when I travel that help me tremendously. So, I have about less than 10 comfort things that I want to share with you that really make a huge difference for me when I travel. I've traveled a lot throughout my life. I've been fortunate to travel personally as well as for work. I got really good at protecting my energy and not getting overstimulated at a job that I had where we traveled like every 4 to 5 months, really. By air, we traveled all together. We would drive to the airport together. We would sit on the plane together. We would eat meals together, stay in an Airbnb together. And I was the only introvert in the office, and everyone else was extremely extroverted. So it was really difficult for me, and something that was hard to manage for a while until I got a little bit better at preventing the meltdowns, preventing getting overstimulated. So I'm going to share some things with you real quick that I think are tremendously helpful. Number one is travel early if you can. Get to the airport before the masses. I know it can be a challenge to get up early if you're not a morning person, but get over it because it's super helpful. There's less traffic, there's less noise, there's less people, there's less energy to deal with, okay? So get there early. If you can, get TSA PreCheck. I know it's a bit of a luxury, but it's super helpful. You just zip right through there, and it's less drama through the, I started to say checkout. It's less drama through security. So take that for what that's worth. My number one recommendation is a hat. Those overhead lights just send me to the next level. I really hate fluorescent lighting. So I will absolutely throw in a hat, which works out because you're getting up at the crack of dawn, and I have crazy hair that I'm not trying to deal with that early anyway. Number two is earplugs. So I used to buy fancy earplugs. I used to get like the Loops earplugs, but I always lose them. So I just stopped getting them. These are so sufficient. They're a few dollars at Walmart or wherever. And they are just these little, balls of putty. And I just like to tear them in half and put one in each ear. And that's really, really helpful for me. If I'm riding in the car, like say I have to go with this work group, right? I would absolutely have these in when they pick me up from the airport because if I have to ride with people to the airport, I will have my earplugs in already because I know preventing getting overstimulated is the number one thing I can do for myself. So on that same note, I just kind of think through all my sensory stuff, right? So I want to wear something that's really soft and comfortable. I wear layers, and then I have my hat, I have my sunglasses, I have my earplugs. I may or may not walk through the airport with these on. It just kind of depends how I feel. Another thing that feels like a huge luxury that I afforded myself this year, I bought myself a pair of Bose noise canceling headphones, and they're just so great. So to be quite honest with you, I will probably have earplugs in and these over it. Now, one thing I want to mention is we get really drained by stimulation, right? So if you want to listen to something, I highly recommend just listen to ambient noise. Just listen to nature sounds or some kind of meditation. Instead of taking in more, give yourself a little break. It's up to you, obviously, but that's super helpful for me. I also love to bring what I call as my Woobie. This is my comfort item. It's very soft and it serves so many purposes. If I'm cold, I can wrap it around myself. If I really want to be antisocial, I will just put it over my head and then put my head down and take a little nap. Another way it comes in handy is you can kind of fold it up and make it a little neck roll because the planes just aren't very comfy. I'm not flying first class or anything like that. So I make a little neck roll. Very, very highly recommend. Think comfort, think soothing, think if you're gonna get anxious, what's gonna help you. So along the lines of sensory issues, smell is another big deal. Somebody is always shitting their pants on the plane, just to be honest, or there's always some kind of unpleasant smell. So I will bring my peppermint oil, which they don't have any problem with that. And sometimes I'll just sniff it. Sometimes I just have it to smell. Sometimes I'll put a little bit on my wrist. If I get upset tummy, I put a little drop and just lick it, and that will help. So having something to smell other than the smell that's upsetting you is key. And it doesn't bother other people. And sometimes we just have to take care of ourselves and not worry if we're bothering other people, because I don't know about you, but I've spent way too much of my life worrying if I'm bothering other people when other people don't worry if they're bothering you. So just do what you need to do to take care of yourself. This also works really great if you have sore muscles. Oftentimes when I travel, I will get, a stiff neck and things like that. So this works for that purpose as well. I always make sure I have some lip balm because it will send me to the next level of hell if my lips are dry. So that. And I always bring my own water bottle because every airport now has water filling stations, and some of them are even cold now, which is great. For me, I like cold water. So of course you want to empty it before you go through security. I have a bad habit of freezing these, and I've panicked before because I had a block of ice, and anyway, so don't be like me. But empty it, of course, before you go through. But then you have this. I usually use a cup with a straw, but when I'm flying, I like to be able to just close it down, obviously, so it doesn't leak. This is a totally random thing, but I like to bring my mala beads. So depending what you're needing, if you're how your sensory issues work, sometimes we do want input. Like, this makes me feel like okay and reminds me that I am surrounded with love and light and I'm safe. And even if God forbid the plane were to go down, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be and I'm safe. So I will just, if you're familiar with mala beads, there's 108 of them. I will say a little mantra like, I am here, I am now, I am here, I am now, and go through this. Okay, so we got a hat, sunglasses, earplugs, lip balm, something pleasant to smell. I also like to bring tissues, to have my own tissues, and then a water bottle and my Woobie. So I guess those are the main things that I wanted to share with you. They seem like small things, but if you can prevent yourself from having a meltdown to begin with, prevention is where it's at. So I usually don't have anything to eat because, like I said, I fly early. I'm used to intermittent fasting. I would rather be a little hungry than get bubble gut, because I get bubble gut really bad when I fly sometimes, and it's just really uncomfortable. And I don't want to be the farty person on the plane, And I also don't like to use the bathroom on the plane, but I like to have an aisle seat just in case I need to use the bathroom, because I'm certainly not going to ask anyone to let me out. That's just not going to happen usually. And I just don't want to worry about it. So I aisle seat, get there early, TSA PreCheck. Those are huge tips. And what else was I going to share with you? I guess those are really the main things. I would love to hear if there's something that I missed or something I'm not thinking of. Tell me about it. So I hope some of that's helpful for you, and let me know what helps you. Okay, so it's time to get packed. I decided to use a small carry-on bag. The number one item I pack is my hair towel because I have curly hair. It's important that I have my towel to scrunch my hair. Number two is my hiking pants, which I actually will probably wear these, but they are very comfortable. They're very breathable, so those are a must bring. And then I anticipate the weather being really warm, so I'm bringing my Piranha skirt that I thrifted several years back. I just love this skirt. You'll see me in that a lot. You'll see me in a lot of the same clothes. I also thrifted this little skirt, which I just freaking love so much. So I'm going to bring that. My Quince t-shirts are a no-brainer. These are super soft tagless shirts that I get on Quince. And I think it was like 3 for $22 or something. And I love them. They go with everything. They're super soft. So those are a staple in my wardrobe, absolutely. I like to fold everything up just because it makes everything, well, a little less wrinkled, hopefully, and just makes more space for everything. This is just a pajama top. It's a t-shirt that says easily distracted by plants with some bleach spots on it, but hey, it's very soft and my previous coworker got it for me. And then I'm gonna bring I bought myself this ginormous pair of sweats. They are so stinking comfortable. I wear them all the time. And I'm gonna bring those because they're super soft. And the first thing I do when I get home from an excursion is put on my comfy clothes. So I will be living in those when we are hanging out of the house. This is a jacket. It's Athleta, which is beside the point, but I got it at Sierra, which is, it used to be Sierra Trading Post, but now it's just called Sierra, and it's part of the TJ Maxx family. And I was super pumped. I got one for myself and one for my daughter-in-law, and they're just cute and go with everything. And it's nice to just cover up in that hot Arizona sun. I am also a tank top girly, so I will bring several tank tops. Those are usually my base layer every single day. Sports bra. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't wear that, depends. And then these little bags I got at TJ Maxx years and years ago, but my undies and socks are in there. Those are really nice, just in case, you know, security has to open up your bag. You don't really want your skivvies like flying everywhere, or I don't anyway. I really have to tell myself to bring less. Less is more, less is more, less is more. This is a long sleeve shirt just in case. One year I went in the end of January, early February, and it was actually cold, but the forecast is showing pretty warm. So I have a washer and dryer available. This is my running hydration vest. I'm bringing it for hiking, and then I'll bring my Birks that my friend gave me. I don't know why I like to share where I got everything from, but I just do. So this is a ditty bag that I love from REI. It's got the few toiletries that I am bringing. And then I'm going to bring the Artist's Way. I kind of hate to drag anything heavy along with me, but that's my journal and the book. And I'm committed to doing that while I'm on vacation. So I'm definitely bringing that. Now this certainly isn't all inclusive. I definitely shoved some more stuff in here as we go, but this just gives you the basic idea. And when I'm leaving, I always like to make sure my expander is closed. That way I'm, you know, inevitably going to buy some things while I'm there, and I want to have space. So there you go. We have all these white bedspreads because the place I used to work, when the bedspreads weren't suitable for guests anymore, they let us just have them or donate them. So I kept a lot of them and we just cover everything. I'm going to bring this to use on walks. We do a lot of walking, like walking the dog. Now this is a new bag by Sherpani that I got on clearance at REI. I had my eye on it forever and I finally pulled the trigger. I have no idea how I'm going to feel about traveling with it, but it has the R whatever it is so that people can't steal your credit cards. So I just thought I would use that. And I got my Kindle, my medication I'm going to keep with me, my Mala Beats. And then, of course, my headphones. I like to carry those in the case. I just want to keep them really nice. They were an investment, and I got them on sale for like $2.20 or something, but still, I mean, obviously I want to keep them nice. My earplugs, of course, and we're going to put those in the front so I know exactly where they're at. I'm a bag in a bag kind of girl, so I'm going to have this little bag that has like charger in it and my Peppermint. And let's see. So we're going to kind of see how that fits. Sometimes I'll travel with just a backpack. Sometimes I'll travel. This is the first time I've used a crossbody like this. So we'll see how it goes. This is my eyeglasses. My readers will be in there. I've got chargers. I'm going to make sure I keep all my chargers with me. Sometimes because my seats are usually in the middle or the back of the plane, I wind up having to gate check my bag, which is honestly fine with me. But I'm going to make sure I have everything in there that's like super important. So this bag is pretty comfy to carry and can be used in a bunch of different ways. But like I said, it's the first time I'm using it, so I will report back on what I think. Heading out of the Winter Wonderland. Winter Wonderland. At the crack ass of dawn. So as you can see, there was no traffic and the airport was pretty chill. Granted, it was 4 a.m. I typically will just try to get some steps in while I wait for my flight, and if I wanted to, I could have easily just curled up somewhere. It was really, really quiet, and this whole area was completely empty, which was just beautiful. I almost missed my connecting flight in Salt Lake, but then we ended up sitting there for 45 minutes and then had to switch planes, and then they had to like send this crazy hot air blower dude out to help us. Anyway, I finally arrived in Phoenix, and thank goodness. My son actually picked me up from the airport and then worked the rest of the afternoon, which was perfect for me. I just got my hands in the dirt and hung out outside with Faye. We got to know each other, and she's just the sweetest thing ever. She reminds me so much of the dog that we had when the kids were little, Tatum. So it was very cathartic to spend time with her, and she's just seriously the sweetest. And it felt good to get my hands in the dirt and just do some plant care. I asked my son if he minded if I did a little plant care, and he was open to that. So I spent some time just meditating, sort of, doing plant things and playing with Faye. It was very, very relaxing afternoon, especially after such a big morning, and I fell asleep on the couch for a while. It was just really nice. It's so much nicer than forcing myself to do these trips in a short 3 to 4 day period. It was very nice knowing I had a full week and I could just chill out and not feel like I have to rush and push and push and push, you know. Just I needed a nap, I took a nap, and it was really nice. Plant care and spending time with the dog are two big things that will help ground me absolutely 100%. Hopefully you won't get into that. As a highly sensitive person, I've learned over the years that I just really have to take a beat and see what I need and check in with myself. So doing plant care is sort of this automatic thing that I will just start doing. That's why I think I have so many plants in my home and in my office at work, because it's just something that I can do and it gives me purpose. This plant, I had given them, I traded them actually a few years ago for this one, and she just needed a little TLC. She had a really long vine, and I was trying to figure out what was happening with her. This is kind of a fun puzzle to figure out, and I just clipped some of the long vines so that hopefully she can grow bushier, and then I'll have to do a little plant tour. They've got a lot of plants, so they have another huge pothos, and I trimmed some of the bare vines this morning to put things into, water to grow more cuttings, so we could just repot those and make a fuller plant when she's ready. In addition to doing things like plant care, going for walks, petting the dog, being just still and kind of taking a deep breath and realizing like, hey, I'm here, I've landed. Writing is also a huge way that I ground and sort of settle down. So I made sure to bring my journals and the Artist's Way book because I am on week 3 of that. And it has a specific journal that you can get with it, which I was excited about just because I like the idea of filling that up through the 12 weeks. I think as a highly sensitive person, kind of the best thing you can do is to continue to do the things that you ordinarily do to support you. And luckily for me, my son and his girlfriend are both also highly sensitive, so they really understand me, and it's just not a big deal. In the past, I've tried to make these trips out to Phoenix, just like a 3 or 4 day trip. But this time I decided to take a full week. I have plenty of vacation time, and so I flew in on Thursday, and I'll fly out on a Thursday. It's been really nice spending time getting to know my new grand doggy, Faye.
So guess what?
We just like to hang out and pretty much just kind of chill. We like to go down to the canal and do some walks, and it was good training opportunity for Faye. Then we took a day trip out to Saguaro National Park in Tucson. And I don't know if you've seen Boys on the Side with Whoopi Goldberg, Mary Louise Parker, and Drew Barrymore, and I think even Matthew McConaughey's in that. That's what I think of when I think of Tucson. But that was a fun day, and one of my tips for traveling in the car is very similar to traveling on a plane. Just make sure you have everything you need. I even utilize my earplugs in the car because it's not even necessarily talking or the radio or whatnot. It's just ambient noises can also be overwhelming, and then when you're being jostled around in the car and things like that. So just, again, make sure you have your snacks, make sure you have your water, anything you need to support yourself. I've been using CBD on this trip, which has been a lifesaver. So just always think, think ahead. You have to think ahead, prepare ahead. Don't let yourself get overly tired, hungry, upset. I think really managing being a highly sensitive person has so much to do with knowing yourself and prevention. That's my biggest tip. That's the best thing I think I can pass along. Is it's gotten a lot easier for me as I've really just honored who I am, what my limitations are, and everyone around me understands the deal. Man, that's just gorgeous. It's always a little sad to leave, and I did have an early flight out, but it was leaving Phoenix, and so the vibe was completely chaotic compared to the vibe leaving my home airport, and it was pretty intense. There was people everywhere. But, I used all my tools, and I did a lot of walking, pacing around. Instead of sitting still, I find it's much better to keep moving. I did have to run to the bathroom and do a little bit of release because my body was freaking out. And I always tap the airplane for good luck. And isn't my bag so cute? Definitely kept all my things close to me because I gate checked my bag both times. And then getting home was great. And I love that they have a red car in our airport now. I hope you guys are doing so great, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.